Now, I think we all know that Serral is amazing at StarCraft 2. He's considered by many, myself included, to be the greatest StarCraft 2 player of all time. However, how will he fare against not one, but two opponents? What I've got for you today is a very interesting set of games. Spotted right here in the bottom left-hand corner. Playing with the blue Zerg pieces, we have none other than the GOAT of StarCraft 2. It's Serral. His opponents right here in this first game. We have a Protoss player who goes by the name of Revenant Rage. And then his ally. We're looking at Green Empire? Greenpire. Their main hatchery. Now, this series of games was recently played as part of a show match. So, big shout out to Psystorm Gaming for sending over these replays. So, they told me this is a best of 5, where some of the opponents of Serral will switch out, and it's a best of 5 where all games are played. Meaning that, I don't know what the score is going to be. In my mind, it should be impossible for Serral to win even one game, because a 1 versus 2 really shouldn't be winnable just with the sheer amount of stuff that the players in red can produce here. But anyways, we are gonna get 5 maps here regardless. Now, this is part of the FSL show match series. If you're interested, I'll post a link down below to their Discord. You can then go and check it out and maybe play against a professional gamer yourself as well at some point in the future. Either way, I'm very excited to find out exactly what ended up going down in these matches. So I've been told that the players that Serral is going to be facing are all between Platinum 1 and Diamond 1. So they're by no means weak players. And the only rule is that they're not allowed to worker rush. Because, well, you can imagine if the game starts and the two players here just select all of their workers and send them straight towards Serral's main. I mean, it doesn't really matter if you're the greatest StarCraft player in the world. If you simply cannot defend against 24 workers at the very beginning, which you're like 14 or something that you would have at that point, it is kind of pointless to play a series like this. So no worker rushes, but other than that, everything else is fair game. Now, I had these replays sent over to me a couple of days ago, and I've been letting them marinate in my head for a little bit. I've been thinking about a 1 versus 2, and in my mind, the conclusion I keep arriving at is that this should be absolutely unwinnable for Serral. As long as the opponents do literally any sort of attack before Serral gets up to like 3-4 base economy, in my mind, it shouldn't really be winnable for him. Now, I have been proven wrong many times before, but Diamond players, Platinum League players in StarCraft 2 in 2025 are legit. It's very different than what players used to do back in the day. Like back in the day, hitting Master League required you to maybe hit your Queen Injects half the time. But these days, players are actually really good. All of the leagues in StarCraft 2 are percentage-based, and obviously, well, it's not like this game has the biggest player pool out there in the world. The players that have been playing for a long time generally. I can imagine that this is going to be practically impossible for the players in red to win. Right? Like, imagine you do a Ling Bane bust here, which may just be what the Zerg player in red is going for. And then you have the Protoss player going for, like, I don't know, a Glaive Adept all-in, or some sort of Blink Stalker, or even like a charge slot push. It should be pretty unwinnable. Now, obviously, one thing to keep in mind, too, is that these are, yes, they're Platinum and Diamond League players, but they're not going to be competitive players most often. Meaning that they very likely get quite nervous going up against Serral. I've played against some really good players in the past, and I tend to play like a bit of a donkey. This would be something that I would do as well when you go up against high-profile opponents. So that is something worth noting. They're probably not going to be playing at 100% effectiveness, and Serral, in the meantime, is obviously a stone-cold killer. He can do whatever he likes, and I don't think he's going to be too impressed. So we have a couple defensive banelings here set up. I feel like what you need to do here, if you are Greenpire and you are Revenant Rage, is just prepare a timing attack and slap Serral in the face. Earlier rather than later, though. Yes, it's enticing here to aim for 200 supply, and I do think that getting up to 200 supply would be really nice. Serral currently sitting at 66 here. Not a whole ton, but yeah, obviously being able to produce 400 supply worth of stuff versus Serral's 200 would be nice and all. But I think Serral's game plan is probably to try and macro up, do a little bit of aggression, like what he's doing right now, do a little bit of aggression every once in a while, and then eventually push across the map when you have like maybe 3 to 4 base economy. I think that's probably the best way for the Zerg player in blue to approach this. So he's currently sitting at 44 drones, which is enough for 2 base saturation. This third here is only half saturated, and yeah, he's only got a bunch of drones here mining the natural expansion too. Queens are gonna use their transfusion to stay alive. But in my mind, the players in red are already too passive. I would like to be proven wrong, because if they can arrive at 200 supply, that would be amazing. But I can imagine it's gonna be quite difficult to pull off. But look at this. Red right now is at 64 supply. Serral is at 89. I mean, that is something you can overcome here. That is something that you can overcome with your allied supply, who's now sitting at 55. So these players are definitely a little bit slower, a little bit worse, but collectively, this should be really manageable. Although so far, I'm not really seeing a whole lot of teamwork between the Protoss and the Zerg player here. A couple additional reinforcements show up. We have an Adept Shade in. So far, they're mostly just going in one at a time. And this is not going to achieve very much either. Serral easily cleaning all of this up. I actually don't really mind this very much for him. So they're droning very hard. Serral is going into +1 together with Roach Speed. He does have a second evolution chamber. I think sticking around on the basics is probably a good idea. If you can go like Roach Ravager or maybe like Roach Hydra, like one of those general all-purpose unit compositions, that's probably the way to go. Serral, though, across the board, playing this relatively safely. Making a large number of units, expecting an attack as well, like the one that I was describing. But since it's not coming, he's decided to drone up a little bit further. He's got a group of links waiting over here in the bottom right. The Zerg player in red is scouting this to the best of his abilities. One cheeky little drone in the main base, just scouting around, trying to see, hey, is there a Dark Shrine? Could there be like a Mutalisk transition coming up here? Is there anything that I'm worried for? And so far, I haven't really seen anything too crazy here from our players in red. And they're actually playing this quite respectfully. I really don't think they should be doing this. I think they're inviting danger. This is where Serral is going to be able to start cruising ahead and where he can really lean into his macro. So we can look at the contrast again. Serral now at 149 supply. Yeah, Zerg player in red now at 89. Upgrades are lined up as well pretty well for Serral. He is going to be able to hit his opponents in the face reasonably well. And so far, Revenant Rage and the Zerg player here, Greenpire, they don't really seem to be flowing together particularly well. I would like to be wrong, but I think this next upcoming attack from Serral is actually dangerous. He's got a 4th hatchery coming up. These are 2v2 maps, by the way, meaning that he's got very easy expansions to acquire. A little bit of aggression over here. The real fight, though, is going to be happening in the middle, and that is where he's headed right now. The entirety of our Protoss player's army, that is an F2A move that I've ever seen. Yeah, he's gonna be sending his entire army in. Serral deals damage at the bottom of the map. That's gonna get cleaned up, but the push over here is going to be much more difficult to defend. Zerglings sneaking up north as well. There is indeed a new hatchery, or a new, well, Protoss hatchery in the making over there. He's got enough army, snipes the Immortal for free. Couple of corrosive balls as well. He is going to micro those away for now, but Greenpire is actually in a world of trouble. The Queens are very exposed. Queens also off creep. Zerglings are working on that nexus up north. Serral is just streaming as many units as he can across the map. Players in red are starting to stack up a lot of money. Gas in particular for the Protoss. Minerals in particular for the Zerg. Hive coming up for Serral. 2-2 has been queued up. No way. No way. He's making it look easy, too. You know what? Maybe I was hyping up a 2v1 a little too much. Maybe I was hyping up Diamond League players a little bit too much. Everybody's got a plan until Serral comes across with just the good old Roach Ravager army. Heavy focus on scouting. He saw that nothing fishy was going on. He defended all the early game aggression perfectly. And it looks to me like he has obtained the victory. 2v1. Or I guess from his perspective, a 1v2 in the first game of the day. Next up, we find ourselves on a map called Roskalion. Raskalion? Roskalion? I'm not entirely sure. Either way, at the bottom of the map, we have a lone Zerg player who goes by the name of Serral. And his opponents this time around, we have different players. We have War Bunnies with the blue Protoss pieces, and then a blue Terran player as well, who goes by the name of Nuke Core. 2v1! Serral is currently 1-2. We have different opponents. Again, we're doing all maps played, so it's not a best of 5 series. I mean, it is a best of 5 series, but we're actually doing all 5 maps, which should be... it should be unwinnable. Okay, you know what you need to do, right? So, what we missed in the previous game was teamwork. Yeah, we had a Protoss, yeah, we had a Zerg, but they weren't really communicating particularly well, I don't think. They were just kind of building up their own thing, pretending that it was a 1 versus 1. Not really being too greedy, not really being too aggressive, just both playing middle of the road. And Serral just destroyed him. So, you have to go. I think your best bet, right, is some sort of timing attack. Say, for example, Terrans open up with a 2-1-1. So, 16 Marines, 2 Medevacs, Stimpack. You can get that done by about 5 minutes. Maybe in Diamond League, like, maybe Platinum League, like 5:30 or so, right? Like, a bit of a delay. Obviously, the map is big, takes a long time to get across. So, like, let's say 5:30. With Protoss, you can definitely line up, like, a 4-gate attack as well. How in the world would one Zerg player at, like, minute 6... defend against a 4-gate push from Protoss and, like, a 16 Marine drop from Terran with, like, additional Marines and Medevacs on the back of it? I don't think that's defendable. Right? Am I missing something? You do have to go for an actual lined-up push, though, and that is the difficulty here. A lot of StarCraft players won't really have a lot of experience communicating, both in real life as well as in video games, myself included. All memes aside, it is difficult to talk to your ally about what your plans are. But I'm hoping that before this particular game began, the players here in blue have had a little bit of a chat and they've decided to go for some sort of push. Reaper Scout is going to go across. Fair enough. What sort of tech are we building here with Protoss? I'm assuming Stargate. Okay, this is looking like a macro build once more. I don't think you need to go Stargate. I think you can probably just play literally anything else. I think like some early game aggression. Essentially, the earlier, the better. Once Serral goes up to 3 to 4 base economy, it's going to be much harder to stop him. Like, yeah, technically you should be at 8 base economy yourself at that point. As a team, right? Like, collectively, they should probably have 8 bases. Realistically, it'll probably be closer to, like, 6. And at that point, you have to worry about your army's positioning. You actually have to be scanning. You have to be scouting. There's a lot going on at that point. I feel like you need to, well, cut his head off before it can really get going. Anyway, Serral so far just enjoying the freedom once again. We have a Void Ray start. Okay. Not a terrible beginning. Pro gamers do this all the time these days. Serral's going to be scouting the main base of Protoss. Obviously, he doesn't know what the spawn locations are going to be, so it's actually quite difficult for him to figure out exactly what's happening. Although, so far, the vision here of the Finnish Zerg player has not been bad. Okay. Marines, a Stalker, we've seen the Stargate, an extra Queen or 2 will probably do the job. Serral now also confidently droning a little bit more than he did in the previous game. Not really sneaking in too many of his troops this time around. Reaper on the Watchtower. Nice control by Serral. Yeah, we do have a good target fire there as well by the Reaper. But you're not supposed to lose it against 2 Lings. He's going to be able to grab control of the Watchtower once more. Zergling in position to see the incoming Void Ray. We have a Spore Crawler building inside of the main base. I think the expansion over here in the far bottom right is pretty safe. No reason to build a Spore Crawler over there. Second Stargate coming up. Warbunnies is going to go and play Skytles. Alright. We also have a Forge, though, so we have to keep an eye out. I guess this is for Photon Cannons and Skytles, dude. That is the biggest Diamond League Protoss strategy that we will probably see all year. Yeah. I have coached many, many Zerg players through Diamond League over all the years of StarCraft 2. And let's just say that Skytles and Photon Cannons, like 2 peas in a pot. Like 2 hands and 1 belly. Like, basically, the cream of the crop of the Diamond Protoss players, they will all go Photon Cannons and Skytles. Void Rays have always been popular. They've only recently become popular at the pro level. They've always been popular, though, on the ladder. Now, I'm not seeing any in-game chatter, by the way. So, I'm assuming that the players in blue have some sort of voice chat going on. Probably using the Discord. Serral's gonna go for a Spire. Okay. I find that a risky choice, if I'm being honest with you, but one that can definitely stress multitasking. It's just that Serral is extremely vulnerable. Imagine, so this is what I was assuming, right? So imagine we have an attack right now. 4 gateways, 2 medevacs full of marines, 2 more medevacs on the back of it, additional marine production. Stimpack can easily be done at this point in time. How in the world is Serral going to defend with 6 queens or 7 queens and 9 Zerglings? I mean, obviously he's been scouting and he now knows that he's reasonably safe to do this. But these are big gambles from Serral. Well, Void Racer coming up. We once more have a passive approach from the team in blue. And I'm starting to get a little bit worried for them again. Void Racer are decent units, but I wouldn't consider them great. Especially not when the mutas are out, and this is definitely going to be muta play. Serral obviously has been mining a lot of gas here for a while. He's been saving up, and he's going to be smashing his piggy bank. Make like 11 of those bad boys all in one go. It'll be difficult for the players to really keep track of it. Fleet Beacon coming up. No surprise there. Stimpack though. It is about a good minute late. Obviously this hasn't been a 2-1-1. This has been a bit of a different build, but all of it is a little bit slow. I'm curious to see the crisis management. Mutas are just about to hit the battlefield. I'm assuming Serral's gonna hide them until the other side of the map. Yeah, he's sending them around the Watchtower's vision, so he's got the Watchtower here under control. He's keeping the mutas within that circle for the most part, making it practically impossible for the team in blue to see these units coming in until they hit the Terran player in the main base, and there is nothing currently defending the main base of Terran whatsoever. They're not quite used to seeing a whole load of mutas show up at this phase in the game. SCVs do get pulled pretty quickly. Protoss decides to recall their units from the Watchtower back home. This means for Serral though, that he's gonna be able to buy even more time. He's gonna be able to finish up the Baneling speed. He's gonna be able to go for Overlord speed. That Void Ray is gonna be an easy pick-off as well. We have a desperation group of missile turrets coming up. One goes down. Second one will also go down. Third one, not destined to live. Excellent value here so far for the Mutalisks. Carrier coming up. We have speed Void Race, +1 shields. Alright, well, I guess that's another use for the Forge. Main base, though, now for Protoss in a world of trouble. And those Void Rays are awkwardly, yeah, chasing all of this. And the Mutas are just destroying everything. Maybe once we have the speed upgrade for the Void Rays finishing up. That's only maybe, I mean, 20 seconds or so away. So Mutas are going to be able to, yeah, get pushed back eventually. There's now also a second control group, though, of Mutas trying to harass the newly acquired base of the Terran. But that one, well, at least there's missile turrets now. Zerglings are going to get a bit of value in. We have a few misrallied siege tanks in the back. Marines don't yet have their combat shield research. Don't really know exactly where that is. Apparently it only just now began. Maybe the Mutas picked it off or something, but I think it may have just also been the in-game jitters. Void Rays are actually struggling against Mutas. Not usually their natural enemy. But Serral's tearing them apart. Still, Serral's maxed out. For all intents and purposes, he's like 10 supply away from maxing out. Player in blue, or both of the players in blue, they have combined, collectively, they have about 200 supply as well. So from here, their armies can only grow. Serral's maxed. Like, he can't really do much more from here. So maybe Mutaling Bane is actually good, because you can just throw armies at the opponent, right? Like, this is something that you can very quickly replenish. And honestly, Mutas and Zerglings against Marines without combat shields, with only, I think, 1-1 research? Yeah, I don't know. I think we needed some Banelings in there. We'll probably see a follow-up attack wave, but then with Banelings mixed in as well. Mutas are going to be sent around the site again. And even though this hasn't been the most successful macro game in the world, our Terran player is now at, well, above 100 supply. I guess that's where we're aiming for. Protoss, well, almost was. Now he ended up getting knocked back down to the 89 supply count, which is not a ton. But assuming they can sustain themselves for another minute or two... Muta's killing an orbital command in the main? No, not gonna happen. Assuming they can sustain themselves for another minute or so, they should be able to just make more stuff. And ultimately, yeah, we can see the active forces tab over here in the top left display the whole situation. Ultimately, though, more stuff does beat less stuff. I mean, I say that. Those mutas are dealing a lot of damage. We have another carrier or two getting sacrificed here. Yeah. Oh my god. This is not the counter to carriers. At least not in a normal game of StarCraft. Protoss once more getting absolutely hammered. Terran loses an orbital command over here on the low ground. Now the Banelings are here. We do have combat shields finally done. A bit of an early stimp back there. Siege tanks will get deleted by the muta count. And that means that there's no protection anymore. They're not gonna have a lot of room to run anymore. They decide to go into the corner, but I believe that'll be the end of all of those Marines. Serral immediately remaxes. He's now got his eyes set on the Stalkers of the Protoss player as well. Dude, this is gonna become like a giant ego trip for Serral. You know that scene in The Gladiator? Where he steps out, he's like, "Are you not entertained? Isn't this what you came here to see?" Something along those lines. I think this is what Serral's doing right now. I like to picture him standing up while he's playing these games. Getting up out of his seat, microing with his hands off the keyboard somehow. This is nasty. This isn't supposed to happen. GG. Wow. No way. Next, balance patch. Balance Council. We have determined that Mutalisks can counter carriers. Therefore, mutas now have -5 HP. No! Serral, stop! That's not supposed to work. Alright? That is not how you're supposed to play the game. Oh well, what do I know? We find ourselves on... Is this the Emerald City? I'm pretty sure that this is me taking you down to the Emerald City, where the neon signs are green and the radioactive grass is pretty. Yeah, it's a beautiful day. Now we have two Protoss players. Revenant Rage is back and War Bunnies is back as well. Two Protoss players. Two Protoss players, they can work together. I mean, you can't lose twice in a row. There's no way, dude. Look, they're already playing a new Olympic sport called synchronized build orders. It's quite beautiful. For some reason, we have a really fast second pylon here for Revenant Rage. He knows that a lot of Platinum League Protoss players out there forget the timing of their second pylon. So you best get it early. Fair enough. We have 4 probes inside of a gas geyser. I think these guys are nervous. Yeah, I don't want to be too much of a prick. I mean, this is the first time I'm seeing a 2v1. If I see more, there's a good chance by the time that we get to game number 5, I'm going to be a real jerk. But anyway, you guys shouldn't be losing this, is all I'm saying. Just do 2 times a 4-gate. Honestly, you could even be building the gateways on the other side of the map. That is a jerk move. But, you know, give him something early in the game. Like Zerg is very vulnerable. Until they go up to like 3-4 bases, until they go into the mid-game, Zerg is very vulnerable. Up until when Serral finished up the Spire in the previous game, up until that point, he was very, very vulnerable. But we didn't see any aggression. How in the world would a Zerg player stop an 8-gate all-in? I don't think they can. I mean, it's already difficult to defend a 4-gate all-in, even though it's not a very popular build in 2025. Obviously, Protosses would make a 5 or a 6-gate all-in if they could possibly sustain that, but they can't. Not in 1v1 anyway. Like, if it's an 8-gate push, how in the world would Serral ever hold on? Well, he will scout the timing of one of the Nexi at this point. Player in blue, War Bunnies, has not yet added anything like that into the mix. So we've got double gateways and a supply block here for War. He hasn't, oh god, he hasn't started up a pylon yet. Oh no. Oh no. You guys are giving Diamond League players a bad name, dude. I can already see the comments on this video going something along the lines of, "This is Diamond League? The guys that I play like they are Serral and Clem. Like every Diamond League player I go up against is an absolute god at the game, and these guys hitting supply blocks before 30 supply? Blizzard! Question mark, exclamation point. Question mark, exclamation point. Look, I think we have a little bit of in-game jitters coming in here. Revenant Rage going into the beloved Twilight Council. Just hit him in the face. Go smack him in the face. Like, not in real life, but like in-game, you know? So we have 4 gateways here for War Bunnies. We don't have a proxy pylon or anything along those lines. But just go hit him. I think you can't hold this as Zerg, can you? Well, I guess we'll find out. What has Serral been up to? He's been droning. Look, Serral has nothing. He's got 2 Zerglings. This is his army. Which also means that he's been exceptionally greedy this entire time. So this is so late. I mean, we're going charge now? I saw the Robo facility, but maybe he intended on starting that earlier and he forgot. Serral is forced to go into a bunch of spines now. Spines and Zerglings. I mean, charge slots would be real good. Well, he's gonna grab a few of the, zealots behind, but not ideal. This is actually Serral just trying to buy time. He snatches up a few stalkers in the middle of the map. Not bad. Spines are now finishing up. This is still a large number of stalkers, though. Spore Crawler coming to the front as well. I think Serral may have seen the Twilight Council. Hasn't seen Charge, hasn't seen Blink, so he's suspecting it's Dark Templar. Turns out it's Delayed Charge. Interesting. Stalkers over here get surrounded. This is a super disjointed attack. War Bunnies is the one with the Stalkers. We have Revenant Rage with all of the Zealots, but both of the armies show up at entirely different times. Man. I think I've seen Serral struggle more against a single player's 2 base all-in. That... Yeah, that wasn't it. No, that was... Basically, you want to do the same thing, but then better. Like, not much better, but at the very least, hit at the same time. Alright, well, now Serral has climbed back up to 77 supply. 43 and 49 here for the Protoss players. And jokes aside, this is still not something that can really easily be broken. We have a wall-off over here up north. No, just, yeah. We have a wall-off over here as well on top of that ramp. Serral's checking around the map to see if there's any hidden bases. He expected more from that attack as well, so he is just checking whether or not there's any proxies. We haven't really seen any proxy bases or anything along those lines just yet, but this is now giving Serral a lot of time. So this is him now getting a lot of time to just do whatever he pleases. And he's decided to not go into any muta play or anything along those lines, but just use that Roach Warren that he produced during that attack. Go into the +1. We have Charge now starting up as well for War Bunnies. So Revenant Rage going into good old Storm. Their first attack didn't work out. It was a little clumsy. But you know what? Now we've kind of worked on all of the, you know, communication inefficiencies, right? Like now we... No. That was a really ambitious siege up. I like the bravity right there of the Prism, but I don't think that was the position. Okay, yeah, just send this in at a later time. It's okay. As long as we do a follow-up attack here, as Protoss, we should be good. Now, there's a lot of money in the bank for Revenant Rage. War Bunnies doing a better job macroing, but also, obviously, he's not had a natural expansion until just now, so his economy is not that great. Revenant Rage, though, has found a way to spend his resources, and that is to just build everything. Yeah, we're just building everything now. Robo base... Oh no, never mind. We canceled Forge number 3 and 4. Fair enough. We have a Hydrodan coming up. We have a Infestation Pit over here. Hive coming up for Serral. Serral forced to play a bit of a macro game, but I think he's actually in a reasonably comfortable spot. So Serral has decided that he can't possibly be breaking this high ground. So he's waiting until they either go down to the low ground or until he finds a proxy base. So he's still running Zerglings all around the map. He's still checking all of the locations as well, just to make sure that there is no hidden base anywhere on the map, like on Emerald City. Now that there's a move down towards the low ground, Serral's going into a lurker den. He's still vulnerable though. He is now taking that 4th base, so the 4th... Oh no, this is not what we need at all. What is this garbage upgrade? Nah, dude. Nah. Maybe earlier, okay, but I think he meant to start Blink. I think this is when you click the buttons rather than, like, click the hotkey. Because there's really no way that you really mean to go into Resonant Glaives, but maybe? Yeah, it's attack speed for Adepts, but I don't think you really want to be building Adepts anymore at this point in the match. 1-1 coming up here for both of the players. Serral just fired up +2. Supply-wise, yeah, the 2 in blue, though, are still doing okay. We have a group of probes. Oh, I think we're heading to the gold. Yeah, we're trying to move up towards the gold base. So Serral's got lurkers now, which is really dangerous. I would love to see some Vipers as well. I think that'd be really good. Okay, so they had a plan, right? Like, they had a plan to hit Serral in the face early. And then we've decided to just follow it up with the most normal passive game of our lives. And I find this risky. Now it's going to be Serral in the driver's seat. He's now seeing a probe transfer up towards the high ground. So, yeah, lurkers on the low ground, making it difficult for reinforcements to get into this position. Roaches and Hydras are going to be able to clean up those units with ease, and that'll be the end of the 3rd base of Revenant Rage. In the meantime, we have a group of Zerglings here as well, waiting right on the right side. No cancel on that Nexus. Zergling run by is going to, at the very least, consider running in. War Bunny's doing a slow warp in to try and get some reinforcements in. Additional lurkers coming up. Void Ray, Oracle, Afterglaive to Depth, by the way, which is a curious one. One Colossus. I mean, I guess we don't need Vipers. One Colossus get killed by a bunch of leftover Zerg units here, although Serral's now sending the rest of his army all over in this direction too. Breaking this high ground is not an easy task, but I mean, now we're 10.5 minutes in. The main and the natural are gonna start running low for Revenant Rage pretty soon. He needs another expansion. Like, we're kind of getting to the point where he needs it sooner rather than later. And those lurkers have no proper counter. One Overseer or 2. We have another Overseer inside of the main base. I don't think he can go down. Oh my god, he decides to go down. Lurkers as well. Firing towards the units coming up from that, or coming down rather, from that ramp up above. Serral just did it again. My god. I really went into this series assuming we weren't gonna see a single Zerg win for Serral. I was wrong. He's now 3 for 3. Next up, we find ourselves on good old Yellow Jacket. Bottom left corner, we have a nice and warmed up Zerg player. Getting comfortable, giving the opponents the GL as well. We never see Serral giving a GL by himself. It's always in a response to someone else, isn't it? Anyway, no reaction though. From Revenant Rage in blue, or in red rather, and then Nucor, a new ally for him. Playing with the Terran pieces, also in red. Come on, you guys got this. I would say it's a little more difficult to line up an attack with Protoss and with Terran, but you guys should be able to line up an attack. Yeah, the map is big, so it takes a long time to get across. But again, a 4-gate together with, for example, a Marine drop. Oh my god, instead we're going for a CC first. I don't actually hate this. You know what? I don't want to... No, I don't actually think this is terrible. So Nucor is going for a CC first. Because is it possible for Serral to go for any sort of early game aggression? I don't think so. I don't think you can really expect any pressure here from Serral early on. Maybe a Zergling or 2, right, when the pool finishes, but Serral should pretty much always be going for quick 3-base. I think that's really the only reasonable way for him to approach a series like this, so you gotta do something. And because of that, a command center first, you should be able to get away with it. What about... Okay, look, if we don't want to go for stock standard unit compositions, what about we have one player going for something pretty normal, like Blink Stalker, and the other guy goes for, like, double Battlecruiser rush? How in the world would Serral hold a Stalker Blink all in, and then at the same time also 2 BCs in the main base? That's not holdable. You only have, like, 2 sources of early game anti-air, and Queens are going to be occupied already, so... There's a lot of ways that you can get the job done. But you do have to commit to some sort of timing. Because I don't think letting Serral sit there and just do whatever he pleases is the way to go. Well, Protoss here is going for what is certainly a 1-base push. We want more of a Twilight Council. I think Dark Templar would also be a good idea. If you go Dark Templar, difficult for Serral to defeat. Not only just because they require detection to see, but also because they just deal a stupid amount of damage. Right, so any sort of Dark Templar push together with Marines could be really powerful. We have a reactor coming up here. I'm assuming we're going to see a second barracks. Second barracks together with a starport. Reactor on the factory, do the big switcheroo, get the stim pack going. Should be reasonably manageable. Yeah, Dark Shrine. I like this. Revenant Rage is on the job this time around. I mean, it's not the most perfect setup, but there's no supply blocks and we at the very least have all of our stuff done. Oh no. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. It's like the shark in one of those movies. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Serral's coming in. Come on, Jimmy. Oh, Serral's terrified of men with guns. Didn't he just go to the military? He just completed his military service. Oh, go back. Go back. You were so close. Yeah, he wants to live. Oh, Jimmy went down to the low ground. Serral's going up to the high ground, and he is going for a pretty quick hive. Alright. I mean, this is not an easy base to attack on, though. Proxy Gate, by the way, going up here for Revenant. Serral's gonna see the... Dirty. This is an all army hotkey with Hellions now as well. We don't need Hellions. Oh! Dude, look at this. Fusion Core coming up. I sound so smart. We have Dark Templar together with a Fusion Core. Now, this Fusion Core is quick, yes, but it doesn't line up with the DTs whatsoever. So we once more have disjointed attacks. Let's see if these heroes do wear capes. Or if these cape-wearing guys are heroes. Maybe a better way to put it. This commentator can only guess no. Well, yeah, okay. Well, that is, yeah, that was one of the attacks of all time. Like, if we pay real careful attention, I believe that to be one of the attacks that has ever happened. Dude, I swear I have not seen these games, but I think this is smart. New Core is going for a good bit of aggression. Look, I think we have a redemption arc here in the making for Revenant Rage. Just like every anime protagonist, we need to see him getting beat up 17 times before we finally start cheering as him as a hero, right? Like, we can wait for his redemption arc now, just warp in units, and then attack as soon as the 2 Battlecruisers are out. Well, Serral is now the one who thinks about being aggressive. By the way, collectively, he is not quite beating them yet in the supply count, but is getting awfully close. Oh no. Well, the BCs aren't here yet. They'll be out in just a moment. Who called in the fleet? I'm surprised with how easy Serral's making this look so far. I really did not expect this to look like this. He's dealing a lot of damage. Like, Protoss economy here is down the gutter. This is nothing anymore. Alright, alright, alright. I think this is smart. How much anti-air is there for the Zerg? There is a Spore Crawler coming up. We have Queens. But this is double BC. And Nuke is actually doing a pretty good job. Yeah, his economy is getting torn apart. But Serral needs some sort of answer against Battlecruisers. And right now, he just doesn't have anything. Like, he doesn't have a Spire. He doesn't have a Hydra Den. Hydras are a terrible answer to BCs to begin with, but he only really has Spore Crawlers and Queens. Now, he's making a lot of those. Nice and all, but it's not a reliable choice. We have 2 more Battlecruisers on the production tab, and I think this is the first time we see Serral sweat. I mean, I say that, he's... Oh my god. Well, I guess that's one way to nip it in the butt. If you just kill the starport itself, that will deny another Battlecruiser. Didn't realize that roaches could kill Battlecruisers, but go figure. Still dangerous, though. Serral's economy is actually plummeting. He's only got 33 drones remaining right now. And even though Serral seemingly has beat Protoss, I think he is not going to be able to do much here against the Battlecruisers. Yeah, the Zerg early game, well, anti-air options are quite limiting. The roaches, though, are dealing so much damage. Where's that BC, man? Did he kill both of the starports? Oh my god, he must have killed both of the starports. I missed one of them going down, or at the very least, I didn't see it. Tactical jump, though, has been used once again. And the Battlecruisers are coming back home. This is not really the redemption arc for Revenant Rage that I was hoping for. But I still think... No way, dude! Serral applying for a job in the NBA right now. Trying his very best to use basketballs to kill Battlecruisers. One way to get it done. Guys, actually, hold up right now. Hold the door. This looked like a game that was unwinnable for Serral just about a minute or two ago. But with the tactical jump, forcing the BCs to go back home, and now one of the BCs being extremely low, I don't think this one can go back until it reaches full HP again. Serral's been droning in the meantime, and he's actually okay. He's now got a Spire coming up. If he can get a Spire, I mean, we have one plan here for Nucor. Oh, this is actually super close. He's actually... Yeah, their supply counts are even. This now becomes a game of crisis management too, right? So this is very much so for everybody involved. Unexplored territory, right? Like, nobody knows how to play a game from here. But I can tell you that Serral is going to feel a million times more confident than these guys right over here. Because they also were feeling the win, right? They must have been feeling the win. Because those BCs dealt so much damage. And ultimately, the Roach Ravager attack was stopped. But now it's not really looking that hot anymore. And I can imagine that Serral is, well, thinking a lot more clear-headed than the players in red. Not that long ago, Serral was like half of the supply of these other players, and he lost all of his eco. Now that's no longer the case. Double armory coming up for Nucor. So Nucor is doubling down on Battlecruisers. I don't hate it. Serral's going Mutas? Oh my god, we already saw that Mutas killed carriers earlier. I think Corruptors is 100% the way to go. But he's probably assuming here that it's not going to be additional BC production, because he killed both of the starports. So if that's the case, there should only ever be one Battlecruiser right now. And if there's only one BC, making Corruptors is a little bit unnecessary. Roach is preventing that base from landing for now. Tunneling Claws coming up as well. Zergling speed. We have Overlord speed, +1 air attacks. Serral wants to go Mass Muta. I think as soon as he notices, indeed, that it is additional Battlecruiser production, he'll switch back to making Corruptors as well. Let's see. Immortal coming up. Not the unit we need. Oh no. Revenant Rage. There's been a lot of Revenants. Very little Rage so far. Tunneling Claws coming up. Well, maybe the Rage will happen soon. Now that the Roaches are gonna continue tearing stuff apart, even though they are quote-unquote countered. Terran player is now the one taking the brunt of the damage, though. Mostly because Protoss doesn't have much that can take damage anymore. Corruptors indeed coming up. Additional BCs, that's going to be Battlecruiser 5 and 6 now. Also, on the production tab. Tunneling Claws, allowing those Roaches to sneak away. The ones in the main base are going to try and make their way on over towards, well, the mineral line of the Protoss. Scan is going to reveal where they are. Serral moves them out of the scan radius, forces a second scan. And he can burrow once more. Dude, at some point this is becoming... We can use these games as like an anti-bullying campaign, you know? I remember seeing those advertisements when I was in high school that bullying was not okay. And they would have like little sad videos of somebody, you know, and I feel like we can have these. Serral is the big bad bully. Don't be like Serral, guys. Or, well, maybe try. Maybe try to be like Serral, because, you know, he's been very successful. Not a lot of people can say that they are the best at anything. Let alone be the best at something this competitive. What a series. Actually insane. I really didn't think this was gonna... This entire situation, I didn't think it was gonna be winnable in the slightest. Now we had a deficit, and he comes back. This is their final attack. It's a hodgepodge of a bunch of different units all together. Corrosive Biles are not gonna be an option. We did have some nice Yamatos there, but, I mean, they killed some stuff, but there's just not enough. Immortals on the ground are okay for now, but there's going to be a lot more roaches on the back of this. There's also still roaches inside of the main base. Serral's tearing apart their economy. Ay, 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 ay. Another win. Insane. All right. Final game for today. Serral spawned in the top left-hand corner. We have Green Pyre. Green Pyre. Back again. He's playing the Zerg. And then we have War Bunnies with the Protoss. Come on, guys. Come on, get it together. Get a grip, okay? I feel like everything has come down to this moment right here. This game right here. We've had some practice. Maybe we should have done it before we played against Serral. Maybe we should have done a couple of practice runs to really get any idea of what we need to do. I don't think that's what happened. Pretty sure they've just been, well, working together as soon as the game started against the #1 player on the planet. I think this is when you guys can truly shine. Look at this. Green Empire, look at his timing of a hatchery. His second drone over here was even quicker. Green Empire out-macroing Serral right now. Good. You don't have to out-macro him, just stay like, whoa, look at these rally points. We're gaming. He's even doubling up on the close-by mineral fields first before we're doing... Okay, we're gaming. Good. Spawning pool is going to be quicker than Serral's. Look. Okay. Look. All you need to do now is do a reasonable attack. And then have War Bunnies also chip in like 6 Stalkers. That's all we need to do. There's no way that you can lose at that point. At least in theory. I feel like we've seen attempts at it and then it all comes crumbling down anyway. No. Hatch gas pool for Serral. Nothing out of the ordinary there. We're gonna see some gas income. But supply counts... very, very even. So, I asked specifically if there were any rules for these games. And the only rule that I was given by the organizers of this show match is that they weren't allowed to worker rush. Anything else seemed to be fair game. Now, obviously, going for any, like, yeah, sure, a worker rush is not allowed, but maybe a 1-minute attack, right? Like some sort of proxy. That's going to be a bit of a jerk move. But, like, some sort of, like, 4, 5, 6, 7-ish minute attack, I think that's your best moment. That'll be the best opportunity where Serral can't possibly have pulled away with a very significant supply advantage. Like, generally speaking, every player is better in the first minutes of the game just because that's the type of minutes you always practice in every game you play. So, you know, Serral will be cleaner at minute 20 than both of these players combined. But, you know, there's only so much you can really do in the first 5 minutes. Like, there's only so many moving parts. Look at War Bunnies over here. Or Green Empire, rather. Oh, Micro God. If I were to make a guess, I think Green Empire is the Diamond 1 player. I'm not exactly sure about the player's individual skill, but Green Empire is actually playing good. I like it. We're going Baneling Bust. We're going Ling Bane. And then we have Protoss going for a Stargate. Okay. I don't hate it, although it feels late to me. We'll have to keep an eye on exactly what the timing is. Serral's scouting for this right now, but sadly for him, the Zerg player is not going to be within vision, and there's really no way for him to figure this sort of thing out. Brenda is going to be able to shut this down. We have a Stalker coming up inside of the gateway too. Oh, never mind. I didn't think he was going to scout. What an idiot I am, dude. I didn't think Serral was going to scout that, but obviously he just sends a Zergling in. Sees the main base of the Zerg anyway. I'm so stupid. Alright, so this means that Serral is going to be forced to defend, and he knows what he is defending against. Problem is, does he have any real answer? Okay, Serral's decided that he's not going to go Banelings of his own. He's not going to go Roaches. That means the dance is becoming significantly more complex. Serral's planning on countering Zergling Bane with Zergling. It's doable, technically. I don't think he has enough, though. Nah, Serral's in a world of trouble here. I don't want to count him out. But this is... Green Empire is playing a good game here. This is extremely hard to hold as it is. Serral now sees the amount of links running across the map. He will have lots of queens available, but not a lot of backup for them. So they're going to get defended. Well, I mean, they're going to be absolutely critical here. We have no Roach Warren. Serral's just making links. One Spinecrawler is being set up over here on the low ground too. Protoss is not showing up anywhere yet. Don't really know exactly where Protoss is located, but they're just macroing up. Either way, here's the Banelings going in. Okay, decent connections, but all of the queens have disappeared, and I think that's much more important than those Banelings dealing damage. Ultimately, it looks to me like this is ending with a 1v1, where Serral is trying to take into consideration a second opponent, but the second opponent... Oh, there he is! No! War Bunny, stop it! No! You had one job, dude! You had one unit! I'm pretty sure I have seen War Bunnies as one of my ranked teammates in League of Legends back in the day. You had one unit, bro. What are you doing? Serral, GG's out. Whew. This is a win for War Bunnies and for Green Empire, but I think we all know that it is indeed Green Empire who obtained the victory. What a fun set of matches. This was really sick. I'm surprised with how well Serral did across the board. Didn't expect that.